Hey guys, Jim here with another video for you. This is a special one-off video. But before we begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about this video and give a special shout out to Alex Wilson. As a matter of fact, this video is dedicated to Alex Wilson, a subscriber of mine from the UK who actually works in the film business. He works on set as a carpenter on building sets for films. And I want to take this opportunity to mention that he has a wonderful son named Freddie. Hi, Freddie. I hope you're doing well, buddy. You should be very proud of your father, lad. He is a great, great guy. Now, some of you are wondering, what the hell is this video about? I did a live stream about a week ago with my good friend Daniel over at Frank's Collecting Castle. And in the chat, Alex, who is one of my favorite subscribers, popped up and said, "Hey, Jim, how about I send you a list of all of the films that I have worked on, and you can rank them if you would like, as far as what you think, as far as quality goes." And he said, to be honest, he does this for the money, not for the art. So he works hard for the money. And I told him I would be ecstatic to do that because, again, the idea of working on a movie set to me in any capacity is amazing. As a matter of fact, I can talk about this now. About 9 months ago, Alex emailed me a couple of pictures of the set of the Yellow Brick Road in Oz from Wicked. That is one of the films that he worked on. He just asked me not to share the photos with anybody because, he could get in trouble and such. And I did. I deleted them immediately, but I just thought it was so cool to see actual set photos from a movie that, quite honestly, I have no desire to see, but it was still really cool to see. And one of those pictures had his boy, Freddie, on the Yellow Brick Road. And I'm sure that is a memory that will last him forever. So that's really cool. So before we get into the video or the movies of his that he worked on that I actually own, I want to mention some other ones that I don't own, and a couple of these haven't even been released yet. So, in no particular order, Alex has worked on Wicked Part 1 and 2, Fantastic Four, First Steps, which has not been released yet, and Supergirl, which is in the process of production right now as we speak. He's also worked on Wonka, The Fast and the Furious Part 9 and Part 10, a Netflix movie called Midnight Sky with George Clooney that he said is a total piece of shit. I've never seen it, so I'll take his word for it. The Steven Spielberg movie War Horse, Pinocchio, Man from U.N.C.L.E., Maleficent 2, Men in Black 4, and Paddington Bear 2 and 3. Those are movies that he's worked on that I don't own, but I wanted to give a shout out just so you can get an idea of how many films Alex has actually worked on. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go with the movies that I actually own, ranking them from bottom to top. But the first couple at the bottom, so to speak, it's not fair because I've never even seen them. We're talking about the Harry Potter films. Now, Alex did not work on all of these films. He worked on Part 4 to Part 7. So we're talking Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, and Deathly Hallows Part 1. I'm sure there's a lot of Harry Potter fans out there that are probably just blown away by the fact that, he was on the set of those 4 films. And all those films were extremely successful, critically and commercially. Harry Potter's not my thing. I've never watched any of them outside of the first one, and I've got very vague memories of that film. But I wanted to give out the shout-outs to the Harry Potter franchise. And like I said, he did work on those 4 films. And also with that universe, he worked on the 2 Fantastic Beasts films. Now, I only own the first, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Again, I bought this for my wife, just like the Harry Potter films. She's a big fan of all of them. I've never seen this. So I cannot, in good conscience, rank this. But again, from all accounts, movie's extremely well made. And I will say this, even for the movies on this list that I don't particularly like, the set decoration is fantastic in all of them. It really is. And of course, Alex isn't responsible for that. He was just a part of it. But still, just, he should be very proud of the work that he has done that is on screen. Okay, the rest of these I have seen. We're going to start off with Barbie, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, and directed by Greta Gerwig. This is a fine movie. It's just not my thing. I'm not into Barbie. I'm sorry. I'm a straight middle-aged man. Was never into Barbie. But that being said, the set decorations in this movie are fantastic. I mean, they really are. And these two, they play the parts perfectly. I mean, again, this is not a movie I'm going to go back to anytime soon, but it kind of surprised me. I didn't hate it at all. I actually did enjoy it on a certain level. So there we go. Now this one, I was very disappointed in. Justice League. Now, I don't know if he worked on it when Zack Snyder was calling the shots or when Joss Whedon was doing it or whatever. And I'm not even sure if this is the one that he worked on or if he worked on the Snyder Cut, which I'm sure is more or less the same thing. But, yeah, very disappointing film. Very disappointing film. The Snyder Cut, I'm not extremely a huge fan of either, but it's miles, miles, miles ahead of this one. Continuing with the superhero vein, he worked on Venom, starring Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, and I always forget his name. Riz Ahmed. I'm sorry, Riz Ahmed, who's fantastic. He's a great actor. Again, Venom. I'm not a huge fan of this movie, but it is entertaining. I have not seen the third one yet. I've seen the first two here. I bought these for my grandson. But again, this movie, it's not great by a long stretch, but it is entertaining. Then we've got Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, starring Ty Sheridan and what's his name? I always forget his name. Ben Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn, who's a very good actor. He's the heavy in this movie. A lot of people shit on this movie. I like it. I never read the book that it was based on, so maybe that's why. But I gotta admit, again, I don't love this movie by any stretch, but there are moments in this movie I really love. I love the whole sequence with The Shining. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant. Again, it's not one of my favorite Spielberg movies, but again, it's a decent movie, and like all these other movies, the set decoration is top-notch. Then we go from Spielberg to Star Wars, with Star Wars The Force Awakens, directed by J.J. Abrams. Again, I don't hate this movie at all. When I saw it originally, I loved it, but then I always thought that it was basically just a reboot of A New Hope, or the original Star Wars is what I have always called it. Beat for beat, this movie is that movie. It really is. But it's a well-made movie, and again, I keep repeating myself, but set decorations, top-notch. Then we've got Tenet, directed by Christopher Nolan, and starring Denzel Washington's son, John David Washington, I believe is his name. Really good movie. It's a mind trip, and it's one of those movies I have to watch again to really appreciate, because quite honestly, I kept getting lost. But again, the visuals and everything in this movie are top-notch. Okay, we are down to the top 5. Number 5 is Matt Reeves' The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson and Colin Farrell, among others. Good movie. This really was. This movie kind of caught me off guard. I was not expecting to really enjoy this movie, especially when I found out that the guy from Twilight was going to be Batman. And I got to admit, this movie caught me off guard. I don't think it's as good as the Christian Bale movies, but I'll take this over any of the earlier movies. This movie, there's moments in this movie that it plays damn near like Silence of the Lambs. I mean, the Riddler is truly a scary villain in this movie. Really enjoyed this movie. This one blew me away the first time I saw it. Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins and starring Gal Gadot and Chris Pine, among others. This is one of the best superhero movies ever made, period. The ending's a little off, the villain. But again, I was amazed how much I enjoyed this movie. Now, the sequel is a total piece of shit, but this movie's fantastic. It really is. Top 3. Number 3 is Rogue One. This movie kicks ass. It really does. As far as all of the newer Star Wars movies, this one's my favorite. It really is. And I'm not talking about the prequels. I'm talking about everything that came out from Force Awakens up. This movie plays like Saving Private Ryan in space. And the character that Donnie Yen plays, these two guys, Donnie Yen is the blind Jedi. It's gold. And I really, really enjoyed this movie. I didn't expect to because, again, this takes place literally between... it ends at the beginning of the original Star Wars. So I knew how this movie was going to end. Didn't matter. I really, really enjoy Rogue One. Number 2 is Christopher Nolan's Inception, with a great cast of Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Elliot Page, Ken Watanabe, Cillian Murphy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It just keeps going on and on and on. And I love this movie. There's my lenticular cover. Again, the visuals and everything else in this movie, it's just such a mind trip. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of DiCaprio's best films. It's one of Christopher Nolan's best films. It's just a great, great film. If this was the only film that I ever worked on, as a carpenter or anything else, I would be extremely proud to have this on my resume. But number 1, and I was so happy to find out that he worked on this because I love this movie so much. Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, and the late, great Bill Paxton. This movie's a ball. I could watch this movie once a week and never, ever get bored with it. It is just such a fun, fun film. And Tom Cruise gives a great performance in this movie as well. So that is my ranking of the films that I own that my good friend Alex Wilson has worked on. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave comments below. Let Alex know how you feel about the movies that he worked on, okay? And while you're at it, say hello to his wonderful, wonderful son, Freddie. Once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this. I want to remind everybody that this coming Saturday will be the next installment of Shooting the Shit with Jim. My guest will be Corey from Wilkys Movies and Music, and I will be leaving the links to his channel below in the description, as well as all the information for that live show. I'm hoping that you can join us at that point. And like I said at the beginning of this video, the whole reason why this video that you're watching exists is because it came from a question in that chat last week. So by all means, join the live chat this time around, and who knows, maybe we'll be doing a special video dedicated to you in the future, just like Alex here. So Alex, again, my friend, I want to thank you especially for not only being a loyal subscriber, but just a great, great friend. And we'll be catching the rest of you on the next one.